Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're looking at this concept, sliffing.
Right, that idea of getting rid of something, shedding what's maybe unwanted or no longer needed.
Exactly. And that kind of made us think about you listening and maybe those old beliefs or, dreams that you might be letting go of right now.
Mm-hmm. We've been looking at some really insightful, personal written pieces, reflections on exactly this.
Yeah. What kind of reflections?
Well, about that sometimes kind of uneasy feeling of shedding old ways of seeing things, and also that pull of dreams that, well, didn't quite pan out.
Ah, okay. So our mission then for this deep dive is to explore that whole experience of moving on.
Yeah, to try and understand it a bit better.
So let's start there. Just think for a second. What's something you once really truly believed that you've now, well, moved on from?
Could be anything, right?
Yeah.
A big life goal, how you thought the world worked.
Or even just a personal truth that shifted. It happens.
It really does. And what's interesting from the reflections is how differently people experience it.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like a slow dawning.
And other times more sudden.
Exactly. A sudden shift. But the core thing is navigating that, that internal change.
Okay, so one of the really powerful questions that came up in these reflections was exactly that. What's something you used to believe that you've now let go of?
Simple question.
Simple, but it really gets you thinking, doesn't it? About personal growth. What comes up for you when you hear that?
Well, it immediately makes you look inward.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it connects to another really compelling point that came through.
It is.
That even when we know, logically, that some dreams might be out of reach as we get older, the wanting it can still hang around.
Oh, absolutely. Like that reflection said, on most days, yes, but on mere tiny wishful moments, no. That really nails it.
It does. That tension is so real. Here points ahead, it's not feasible, but sometimes, just for a second.
That little flicker of what if, it persists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The head and the heart not quite lining up. And there was this amazing visual in one piece.
The cake one.
Yeah. The half-baked birthday cake melting 25 candle surrounded by old life plan Post-it notes.
Such a vivid picture of those hopes, those plans kind of fading or not quite, setting properly. Why do you think that hit so hard?
It's just so relatable, isn't it? We all have those mental images of what life should look like at certain points.
Yeah. And then there was that follow-up thought attached to it. Still, if I have nothing else in life's plan agenda, what do I have to lose, right?
Ah, yeah. That speaks to just keep trying, doesn't it? Even if hope is kind of dwindling, that human drive.
Keeps driving. But the reflections also mention the flip side, the frustration.
Right, the analogy of searching for lost keys,
Well, that's a good one. That feeling of checking the same places over and over.
knowing they're probably not there. But you do it anyway. You can't quite give up the search.
It captures that feeling of clinging to something past that maybe isn't serving you anymore, that repetitive, frustrating cycle.
Yeah, clinging fruitlessly, which actually leads perfectly into this quote that really stood out.
Okay.
Shedding your skin isn't always pretty, but it's always progress.
Okay, isn't always pretty. So letting go, it's not necessarily easy or comfortable. It can feel awkward, maybe even a bit painful.
Exactly that. It acknowledges the difficulty,
Yeah.
but then it reframes it, crucially, as progress.
Right. So even if it feels messy or unpretty, getting rid of what doesn't fit anymore, that's moving forward.
It creates space.
Yeah.
Space for new growth, maybe a more authentic way of being.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like we've explored this core tension, this push and pull,
Yeah, between holding on to the familiar, the old beliefs, the maybe faded dreams.
and the process of letting go, which can be tough. But like that quote says, it's ultimately about progress. Liberating, maybe.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
That shedding, even if it's not elegant, is fundamentally a step forward, growth.
So thinking about that,
Yeah.
about progress through shedding, and maybe a final thought for you listening. What small thing, perhaps, could you benefit from letting go of right now, even if shedding it feels a little unpretty?
Something to mull over.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.